Hey guys, J-Games here again. This is going to be what if Ichigo had every FullBring. Basically, in this one, Ichigo will have every FullBring. Now keep in mind, I will be spending a lot of time on power because I mean every FullBring. But I'll try to go over it fast. Alright. What happened is basically the Soul King would, at some point before he is turned into said Soul King, he would actually at some point want to, I would say, this precognition allows him to see in the future that he is actually going to be made the Soul King by either his own accord or by force. And usually it's going to be by force. So knowing that future is coming and that he could not do anything to help the people in that time by only creating the dimensions or realms, being the living, the Mundo, and Soul Society, he decides to make a being that someday could keep these three places in check with his power for good. But he'll be on the more correct side of Shinigami, as humans are humans being Quincy's, and not all Quincy's are good. Ergo, his son. Hollows are hollows. Depends really. And then Shinigami, well, they usually keep order in the world, so he hopes they're good. Or at least he hopes that they don't change from how they are now. Or he hopes that they change for the better, basically. Because all current Shinigami right now are kind of known as, criminals. Because of Yuobak and such. Not Yuobak, I mean. Because of, technically Ichigo is a criminal, because he's the one that made the Soul King like that by force, but, yeah. But he hopes that they'll change. So he'll bring out power in humans that will grow in certain genetics of them. So, yeah. And I'm basically going to say that power would go on to travel. So the Soul King's on basically this blast of energy that will travel forever until it finds the target that he wishes, being Ichigo. And the power he granted to humans is the Fullbring that will be granted out every once in a while. But any human, like the Fullbring, will have their power brought out. But then once their power is unleashed, they'll lose a portion of it, and that portion will go to Ichigo, and it will grow inside of him, being multiplied. And we'll go on to Ichigo now, when he is roughly around 8 years old, a year before his mother Misaki would die. So this is conversation between Ishin and Urahara. Ichigo had displayed some ability to actually kind of summon out Reishi, so Ishin, not being able to sense it right now, or sense it too well, and Misaki kind of being a little rusty herself, they both agree to send Ichigo to, Urahara. And Ryuken's there as well, just study him. Ishin's like, hey, Urahara, my son had used some Reishi. I'd like to know if it's a Quincy power or a Shinigami power, or maybe even, in the worst case, a hollow. And Urahara does a few scans saying, confirming that, this power is hollow. Not hollow, it's Shinigami power. But some unknown power that I can't tell what it is, I don't know, as Fullbringers aren't really a known power source. Sure, there's Ginjo, Tsukishima, and that one girl in the Soul Society that are Fullbringers, but they're not really known as powerhouses. They're kind of known as people that were there. So, But we are at Ichigo now, again when Ichigo's 11 years old. Because he's playing Shinigami power, Urahara reach out to Ukitake alone and ask him to keep the secret. Ukitake would agree because it involves a child. That's a pretty innocent kid, it's just he can't control his genetics. So he's now going to manifest Quincy or Shinigami power, since it's better for Shinigami powers to manifest. So Urahara and Ukitake feeling bad that this kid has no choice to make a Shinigami badge, but there's no tracker because the kid is 8 years old. With this, Ichigo is given the Shinigami badge, and for around 3 or so years, Ichigo would actually keep the badge on him like a pendant or like a lucky charm. And at some point, he'd eventually been able to turn the tag or pendant into a shuriken. So yeah. So when he used the Shinigami as the badge is like a shuriken, he begins actually manifesting even more power. He shows his ability to Ishin and Urahara expects that this is the unknown power that he had. And thinks it comes from Ichigo's connection to certain objects. So now they gave Ichigo gifts that they thought he wouldn't like, because they held it off for his birthdays and everything. Ichigo knows Urahara, Tessai pretty well. He even knows Shinji and Hiyori, because that's them to investigate if he had hollow powers or not, and they confirmed it was not a Baijured power. It would happen to be something that he just has. But because he knows them, he's actually pretty nice. Even Hiyori has a soft spot for the kid. They visit him once in a while, just hang out for a bit. So with this, they all give Ichigo gifts resembling his power or his love for training. So the powers that Ichigo has, the objects he has now, happen to be a substitute sword repair badge, a wooden sword that Ishin gave him just to actually train his sword abilities in case he became a Shinigami, or Hara gave him a wristwatch, hoping that Ichigo can manifest some sort of time manipulation power, even though Ichigo will not manifest time manipulation power, he'll manifest a different time-based ability. But also, Hara gave him this box that can collapse down, holding all of his objects inside of it. This box, when it collapses down, can collapse anything inside of it to the size to the point where it fits. Box can collapse down to the size of a wallet, or anything inside the box that even if it doesn't fit inside, like Ichigo's wooden sword, the sword would just fold in on itself, making it the size of something like a piece of change. When the box would regrow to normal size, the sword's also at its full size. And this happens to be mimicking Riruka's dollhouse ability. Then Ichigo has a Game Boy and a PSP that Shinji and Hiyori chipped in to give him. And he uses this as well. Now I'm going to go over all his powers by the time he's 11 years old that he learns how to use with the whole 1 year. So yeah. He can transfer power and even transfer Fullbringer powers from people, or even create new Fullbringer powers that can give them away. Then he has his own Shinigami powers, as he can turn his wooden sword into a Zanpakuto. But with Ichigo's masterful control of Reishi, as he has used it as a kid, but then also used it in the substitute sword badge, well, his sword is not always out of control. It's in full control constantly, with his badge, with his sword being resembling a normal katana, just slightly longer in length. What else? Master Reishi control, but also because Fullbringers have their own version of Quincy and Shinigami abilities and Hollow abilities. Ichigo has power called Full Manifestation Light or Bringer Light. It allows him to run, jump on air, or walk on air, or stand on air. Or it can enhance his power or elasticity of his own body. He's a battle genius. He's a master at Shunpo and Hakuda by the time he's 14 years old because he already uses powers based on Fullbringers and Shinigami powers that Ishin has been teaching him. Even Shinji and Hiyori have been teaching him. The point where they even had his hollow powers emerge early, with the way they even gave him Shinigami powers. Born to do small times to know when he was 14 and a half, around 6 months before the story begins. Ichigo can now bring out his hollow powers of his own accord because of Shinji and Hiyori, but also they gave him the power to use his own Shinigami power. So yeah. His durability is kind of double what his canonical version of his hollow power is. We have Hollow Mask Ichigo, whose durability is pretty high. This basic Ichigo, only using Fullbringer power, is double that. So this guy's pretty stacked in terms of durability. His physical strength is 10 times Wakamundo Chad, 10 times that in just one arm. So yeah. But then if you were to use both arms, it'd be 10 times in each arm. So yeah. Now he can control earth, air, water, fire, and he can somewhat emit electricity, which is a lot harder for him to do because it's made of Reishi. Unlike everything else, Reishi actually just it's kind of just around him at all times, so you can actually summon it out. Harsh abilities for him to do are kind of just lightning and fire because actually not fire's pretty easy for him because he just turns his Reishi into flames. While lightning is a lot harder to make out of Reishi. So yeah, but also he can do a blood and bones as well. If blood or bones is exposed on himself or enemies. So yeah. And he does this with full manifestation light. Or you can just combine them and create a whole new power is you can combine water, earth, and fire to create lava or magma. Water gives it the liquid consistency. So yeah. He can also turn intangible, which helps in combat. He can also generate as long as he has a brain or a heart left. And there's also a time limit on each one. And basically what it is, for Ichigo's head, or for his brain basically, he has 40 seconds. For his heart, he has 20. If one of those were destroyed, it has 20 seconds to regrow and keep Ichigo's body functioning. So yeah, if one of them is destroyed and the time runs out, he's going to die. Yeah, if he has one left, sure, he's going to be there. Only thing they can live without is a good portion of his brain. If he has at least 20% of his brain left, he'll live. But any less than that, and the time ran out, he's dead. So yeah. What else? He can create barriers out of thin air, being out of reishi, earth, all that kind of stuff. He can create elemental dragons, being dragons made of the said elements. He has Ruruka's doll box. Anything that he takes a liking to, or anyone takes a liking to, can be put in the box and moved around to his own accord. He also has a technique called Human Container, where he can actually shrink himself down. Well, after he stabs someone with his sword, he can shrink down to the size of anything to run inside the wound. And can kind of camp out in their body for a bit and feed off their reishi. Since this can mainly use if he's stressed out in combat or overwhelmed in combat. So yeah. And basically, well, his Zanpakuto still name is Zangetsu, but because of Fullbringer powers, he has two different versions of a Zanpakuto. Not two different versions. He had to combine his Fullbringer power with his Shikai. He actually has a Shikai now. And his Shikai is called Zoke no Ken, or Sword of Molding. Basically, his wooden sword can be molded into any kind of blade, and if he evolves it enough and it has like enough reishi control, he can actually evolve it into another person's Shikai if he's seen their Zanpakuto enough. Aizen better watch out. So yeah, Ichigo can also just form a blade of pure energy in his hand, and he can do a Getsuga Tensha with his sword, the wooden sword, or the energy blade. Doing it with the energy blade is a lot stronger, but it's less containable. Like, oh yeah, sure, the Zanpakuto, the Getsuga Tensha is stronger, but it destroys 3 buildings all at once if you intend to destroy a single floor. That's just how powerful it is. Like, oh, I'm destroying a single floor. No, I'm flattening 3 buildings instead because I can't control it. Because that's how it is. He can also just shoot an energy beam from the tips of one of the varieties, being steel blade, wooden sword, or energy sword. He can also steal and absorb Fullbrings. He can copy them as well. Then he has a technique called Invaders Must Die, where any copied Fullbring that he has cannot harm him. There's also version 2 or version 1 of this technique that belongs to someone else. So yeah, then he has the skeletal armor like you see here. And that's when he's 14, 15, that series. But the only thing that's additional is that he has a black cloak over it, being a Shinigami cloak. On the back of the cloak, there happens to be a hollow mask, resembling his regular hollow mask. Instead of it being red, it's black. The red marks on the hollow mask are black. Then he has a technique called Time Tells No Lies, where basically he can set a timer or set a condition, set a timer for that condition, and if time were to run out on said person or object with the timer or in condition and they fail the condition, places a condition on person or object with a timer. If said person or object doesn't complete that objective in a certain amount of time, they burst into flames. So yeah, pause. So yeah, he also has a technique where he can kind of create numbers of different languages or different like styles. Like, oh, here's a number, here's number 1, but then here's number 1 in Roman numerals. So kind of like that kind of stuff. Or here's number 1 in a whole different language, or spelled out in a whole different language. So yeah. He also has a technique that allows him to kind of turn into a giant like Hulk thing. He kind of uses that if he wants to fight like hand-to-hand combat against hollows, and he's not big enough to. Hollows are freakishly big. If it's like a giant hollow, like a Grand Fisher giant, he'll use the muscle form just to honestly fight it hand-to-hand combat, but only if he wants to. So yeah. Then he has Chad's technique called Brazos de Derecha de Gigante, and he also has Diablo because Ichigo's power automatically enhances Fullbringers. He immediately got Diablo off the bat. So yeah. And they blend into a Fullbringer armor, so yeah. And basically what happens is the Derecha Gigante is meant for defense, well then Diablo is meant for offense. So black and red arm, defense, white and red and blue arm is offense. And for De Gigante, it can turn into like a giant shield, but Chad's it's like a basic like a shield size. Ichigo's shield size is basically like a full-on barrier that's like 8 feet tall, so it's giant. So yeah. Then in his Diablo arm, he has a technique called La Muerte, where he basically creates these five discs on his fingers that he can actually throw, or he can actually kind of turn them into like a punching power where it kind of bursts his opponent to pieces on the ground. So yeah. He has a technique also called Jackpot Knuckles, where basically his gloves on his armor kind of turn into like these numbers, kind of just like 7s all across his knuckles. And if you're to punch someone, like say for example, he's gonna punch someone holding a shield, immediately the handle on the shield will break because he's lucky. So yeah, or it's like a jackpot. Or say like you and him clash, and he punches your sword. Well, actually, what happens is somehow your blade may slip out of your hands because of either like, oh, your hand somehow got magically sweaty and you somehow slipped out of your hand, stuff like that. So very very lucky basically. There's then he has Tsukushima's insert presence, where instead of like Ichigo needing a bookmark, instead all he needs is just his simple wooden sword, or actually his super badge is a bit more effective. Like his wooden sword is like about as effective as like I would say Aizen's Kyokusu we get to, but then if you were to use his super badge where he kind of shows it to you immediately, there's no way breaking it. There's no way to confirm what's happening, so it's kind of insane. Now version 1 of Invaders Must Die. Or basically, this ability that he uses in his Game Boy and PSP. Or basically, it can seal people using kind of game controller physics. There's a pocket dimension where he can like kind of skip or fast forward. Then he can also rewind and pause. Then he can create clones. He can make himself invisible, which doesn't really do too much because he's literally can be intangible. So it doesn't matter if he's caught. You won't really hit him. He also has digital effects which allow him to create cloned camo weapons on a much higher scale. Or he can create chat/game rooms that allow him to actually, whole different buildings. And people he's given Fullbringers or other powers to. Chad. When he met Chad around a month later, him and Chad got along enough to the point where Ichigo gave him a Fullbring. He gave Chad the same powers, and Chad's had this for around a year now. So he already has Gigante and Diablo. He already has both of them both, but Ichigo also gave him hollow powers. So with this, Chad does have a hollow mask, and when he uses this, his hollow mask bonds with his whole body, including his arms. So with this, it gives Chad a full suit of armor, with him having no chance of losing control because it's literally bonding with his arms. But also because this power is restricted to Ichigo's alone, and if Ichigo has full control over it, so will you. But it kind of depends on your Reishi levels. And because of Chad having so much, that's also given by Ichigo, he has full control over it. Or Hime, she has hollow powers as well, it's just her hollow mask doesn't connect to her whole body. It kind of like a helmet. But the thing is that it connects to her hairpins that Ichigo gave her. That's kind of a Fullbring as well. Hairpins can be turned into basically a sword, wires, shield, a wall. You can kind of mold it into anything that she wants them to, as long as they don't have to like be bigger than 5 feet. So yeah, they can be bigger than her basically. They can be bigger or wider than her. Unless they're in the wire form or shield form, that's like their only way to do that. They can also be turned into any kind of hairpin she wants them to. On the upside though, they can also fire Ceros, and Chad can punch out Ceros and Hieros. One thing about Chad also, in the 1 year training that he had with his hollow form, Ichigo made him a Vassal-Lorde. Ichigo's already a Vassal-Lorde, so yeah. Uryu, Ichigo reprinted him pretty quickly. Uryu seemed to hate him for no reason, and he knew why, because Uryu's a Quincy, but he showed Uryu's his Soul Reaper badge, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not a full Soul Reaper." He really put himself in Uryu's past, to the point where Uryu thought Ichigo was always there as some sort of friend or at least acquaintance, kind of like a frenemy, which changed Uryu's whole personality on him for a while. Then reached the point where Ichigo formed a genuine friendship with him, and he told Uryu the truth, and Uryu says, "Yeah, being like this seems better than hating him, but Ichigo does owe him a few things." So yeah. But yeah. And Ichigo gave Uryu hollow power as well to make him not immune, but humans like the one like Orihime and Chad, they don't get less damage from hollows to the point, but this point for Uryu, he's now basically almost immune to hollow damage. Like they have to use like a Cero to get through his skin now. So yeah. I said hollows, not everything else. But Uryu, he's a natural Vassal-Lorde, so Hollow Mask only manifests over one of his eyes. And Ichigo's Fullbringer that he gave him is in the Samurai Glove, where it basically can absorb and give Reishi. And at the point where Uryu doesn't sacrifice all his Reishi, no, this blade, this does the opposite, where it kind of just keeps funneling Uryu with Reishi. And it gives him every single Quincy power to the point where Uryu never needs to carry gear or change in a battle. He just puts on the Samurai Glove, runs out the battle, and the armor appears on him with all the gadgets immediately on the armor. Or there can be no gadgets at all, and Uryu can just use every single ability that he wants. Plus, while he's in the Samurai Glove Quincy outfit, he also gets just 2 different Samurai Gloves. So yeah. It also absorbs 41st, let's say for example somebody like Ichigo gets a Sensho. If Uryu would use both both Sonoran gloves, he can absorb 40% of that Getsuga Tensho's power. So yeah. But then Uryu's hollow power. With him being a natural Vassalorde / Espada, well, he can do a Sero, a Hierro, but also because Uryu can manifest a sword made of Reishi now because of his Reishi absorption and actually molding. Because of that, he does have a Resurrection, and his Resurrection is called Bujo Nacido del Alma, or Soul-born Owl, or Owl born from souls. It can be put both ways, because a soul kind of birthed Uryu's power, being Ichigo. Then because Tatsuki's always been helping Ichigo when it came to martial arts, Ichigo also gave her a FullBring. He gave her Quincy powers just because it seemed fitting for her, as hollow powers would actually kind of somewhat corrupt her mind. She's not as strong as Chad or Hime and Uryu are mentally because they're natural fighters. Tatsuki's just like a basic human, so it's a bit different. So yeah, because hollow powers are a bit too corrupted for her, she got Quincy powers, and she can do the bow and Hirinkaku. That's all she kind of uses. But then her basically happens for her for FullBring. But she basically has like a martial arts gi where it can turn into full armor or Quincy armor, and it can actually absorb attacks and deflect them. When it absorbs attacks, it's not going into her own reishi body, but instead what it does is actually kind of like gives her a temporary boost in power. So yeah. Ichigo also gave Ishin a FullBringer power because eventually Ichigo did find out that Ishin was a Shinigami, but he can no longer do it. So Ichigo gave him another way to do Shinigami duties. One, he made Ishin a Shinigami again. He full on made Ishin back at his full power when he was younger. But then Ishin got stronger from when he was younger. But Ichigo also gave him hollow powers, making him a Vizard. The thing about Ishin though is that he's a natural Vassalorde like Uryu is. So he has a hollow master on his mouth like this picture of Ichigo does. Ishin's is blue. So, yeah. And he can do Sero Hero, and he has a Vassalorde form, which he learned to go into as a Resurrection. Then he has a Shinigami glove that can kind of force on he has like a glove that he would originally try to use to go between Shinigami and Gigai. But now that his Gigai and Shinigami body are fused, Ishin does have a connection to the glove still. But instead, what he can do with the glove, his Shinigami armor, his living body turns into Reishi completely. And what it does is actually make him nigh immune to all powers relating to Shinigami attacks. But also, it enhances his power greatly, putting his base Zanpakuto or sealed Zanpakuto state on a level of a Bankai state. So yeah, we don't know Ishin's Bankai, but assuming because he's a captain, we can assume he does have one, or he was just honestly so powerful in Chikai that he was made a captain, one of the two. So yeah. What else? Urahara, he also wanted to see what a FullBring could be for him, and he also was given hollow powers. Because his hollow power, Urahara is also a natural Vassalorde, having a hollow part in his cheek, and he does have a Resurrection, but he just does not use it at all. If anything, he fused it with his Bankai. But the best way I can put his power is only thing I'll give you for Urahara's kind of power, because it's not too important. All it does is make his opponents very kind of disorients his opponents. That's kind of all it does. But yeah, he kind of fused his Bankai and Zanpakuto. He fused his Bankai and Resurrection basically. But yeah, that's all power. Sorry it took so long to do so. It took 12 minutes, probably even longer than that actually. But yeah, so Ichigo eventually when he's 15, meets Rukia. Only for her to actually be saved by Ishin from a hollow. Ishin kind of put his hand on the hollow's head and just used so much Reishi though that the hollow's head was blown apart. Which was shocking for her to see. But then Ishin explained who he was, Ishin Kurosaki, or formerly Ishin Shiba of the Shiba clan, and former captain of Squad 10. Now, immediately, Rukia has heard of him. They were alive in the same time period, so, yeah. But then eventually we go on probably forward again, I'd say probably the next part, The next thing would probably be I don't know. Well, I'll probably see like Ishin encouraging Rukia to stay just so he can train her, like so him and Urahara can train her to actually unlock her Shikai. So yeah, Urahara says he owes Ukitake a favor, and he'll repay that favor by making sure that Rukia can be strong enough to take over for him eventually. He's like he'll die any day, and it's like a small gag that him and Rukia have now. It's like, oh yeah, you're getting strong because Ukitake could die any day now because of how sickly he is. It's a very dark gag, but it's the gag they have. So yeah. Move forward again, probably to, I would say, well, with such a story arc honestly not even being for Ichigo, it's strictly so everyone here can train Rukia. Also, Sasuke became a Fullbringer in the last, 6 months. So she's even kind of training her Fullbringer a bit, while Orihime, Chad, and Uryu have been Fullbringers for almost a year and a half now. They're pretty accustomed to their powers, and they've also been accustomed to their holo powers. Uryu is insanely strong right now. I'd say probably in terms of power, he's but without even using his, if he were to go all out, but leave out his, Resurrection, he's probably out as strong as Grimmjow is in his Resurrection. But with Uryu getting such a great increase in power from his Resurrection, well, Uryu is probably about as strong as, I would probably say, Ukiura. So, yeah, I'm just gonna, he'll go from, Grimmjow Resurrection all the way down to, the level of, Ukiura's first Resurrection, I'll say. So, yeah. Then we go on again, I would say, to the next part being, well, yeah, probably just it's Rukia versus or I guess Byakuya and Renji coming from Rukia. Rukia says he wants to fight them both to show how strong she's gotten in the living while training under Kisuke Urahara and Ishin Chiba. And she mentioned all the Vizards, Urahara, Tessai, Yoruichi, Ishin. She name drops all those major people that have been training her so far, which even shocks Byakuya. She should off her Shikai immediately, and she beats Renji with spiritual pressure alone. Ichigo is not giving out any more Fullbringers. His body does not create that much anymore after giving out so many powers. His arms are weak. What was it called? Brazo de Derecha de Gigante. That for him, that's weakened now because he gave so much of that power to Chad. Hairpin thing, he made that up. For Uryus, he made that up. For Tatsuki, he made that up. For Ishin, he made that up. And for Urahara, he made that up. A lot of his own power went into Chad. So Chad is so strong. Chad's probably about as strong as Yami is. Ishin probably about as strong as Ukiura is. And if Ishin were going full form Bankai, probably about as strong as Yami at his full power is. But then again, Ishin can cut down Yami in one go in his Bankai state. So yeah. And Urahara is just immeasurable still. If anything, I'd put him as a comparable equal to Aizen until he enters. He's a comparable equal to Aizen until he's in the land of living. Until he evolves, Urahara is comparable to Aizen. Then again, if Urahara were to go into his Bankai form, he's comparable to Dangai Ichigo in terms of power. But I said Dangai, not final Getsu Tensho. So yeah. Yeah, we're going on again now to probably just Rukia beating up Renji, and Byakuya was impressed by her to the point where he even knew she had to fight her, but eventually he did beat her. So she was impressive, but not impressive enough. He sort of tried to drag her away, only for all the Vizards to appear alongside Byakuya. So all the Vizards, the 12 Vizards, not 12. Pretty sure it's not 12. Pretty sure it's 9. Hold up. Yeah, there's 9. I was right the second time. So they're on the 9 Vizards. Urahara, Yoruichi. So 9 Vizards. Urahara, Tessai, Yoruichi, Ururu, Jinta, Ishin, Ichigo, Chad, Orihime, Uryu, and Tatsuki. That is 20 people appearing in front of Byakuya, threatening to kill him right now, and they're all ready to in an instant. Ishin does mention that because Byakuya is a noble, if they do kill him, they may end up having to fight the whole society in general because he's a captain, but also a noble. which does make them all annoyed that they may have to let him go, and they do just that. But Ichigo kind of grabbed Yoruichi and threw her in there before sealing off a decent amount of her own power. She did get annoyed that Ichigo did that to her, but she doesn't blame him. So, But then for around like a week and a half or so, they all trained their full potential to the point where they're ready to go into the Soul Society. Not that Ichigo needed any training, he can fight everyone on a pretty good degree. Ichigo can fight all 20 people I just named to a standstill at all the other. He didn't fight the other 19 people I just named to a standstill, and it's just him on his own side. And keep in mind, Urahara is comparable to a Dangai Ichigo in his own Bankai right now. So that is how strong Ichigo is at his full power comparing to everyone else's full power. But Urahara to say that he will not go in the Soul Society, it'll literally just be Chad, Orihime, Ichigo, Uryu, Toski, and Ishin. So yeah. When they do go inside the Soul Society, we go on probably to the first part of the fights now. Because Ichigo, well, they do like the orb from like Kukaku because Yoruichi led them there, and they skip past the gate guard guy. When they land inside the society, they can do stuff apart because they can all control the Reishi pretty masterfully. But the ball cannot contain so much Reishi to the point where it just exploded at the same time as a cannon. But because they did contain the blast to a decent degree, they land in spots that they select. But they decided not to land together because it may attract too many people and too many strong foes all at once. Ichigo foolishly landed in the 11th Division headquarters, where Kenpachi is, and Ikaku, and Yumachika, and Yanchiru, but yeah. But actually, when they all go outside to see Ichigo, he tears them all down, saying, "Fine, he's already here. Come at him." As his skeletal armor appears alongside his wooden sword and Zanpakuto. And Kenpachi saw the Soul Reaper badge on Ichigo's hip, and realized that Ichigo's another Shinigami. But with how much power he's wielding, he must be beyond captain level. So yeah. But with this, Ichigo decides to fight the whole 11th Division and beat them all without getting as much as a scratch. Yeah, that's right. He beat Kenpachi without getting scratched. All he did, honestly, threatened to break Kenpachi's sword as he caught it with one hand, threatening to snap it in half. Kenpachi realized that the sword is still important to him, so he's like, no, you can't do that. Or you do that, how is someone supposed to kill Unohana? Only for Kenpachi to be punched in the dirt immediately for actually being concerned for his sword, and with him being punched in the face, he's knocked out. So yeah. The next thing I would say is probably Ishin versus the 10th Division, where Toshiro's not there right now. He's actually meeting with Yamamoto. You guys are wondering why Toshiro was there and not Kenpachi? But simply because Kenpachi did not care enough to go. That's about it. He just didn't care enough to go. But yeah, so Ishin beats the whole 10th Division besides Toshiro and Rangiku. Not the whole 10th Division. I'd say he beats like 75% of the division. Because Rangiku and a decent amount of them still do know who Ishin is, while a few of them did view Ishin as a traitor, but also some of them don't know who he is, so he still beat the ones that didn't know and the ones who viewed him as a traitor. But Toshiro something was wrong, so he said he had to go urgently. Yamamoto's like, okay, you're a respectable kid, I like you. You can go as you please. But this, as soon as Toshiro left, Ishin had already beaten his whole division, including Rangiku and the other 25% now. All that's left is Toshiro. As soon as Toshiro attacked Ishin, realizing who he was, Ishin simply held a sword saying, Bankai, and the Reishi emitted from his Bankai, destroyed Toshiro's Bankai itself, and knocked out Toshiro. Ishin then sealed away his Zanpakuto again, and saying he's not used to saying Bankai and never using it. And then he did fight Ichigo that one time, and Ichigo beat the hell out of him with it, while even using his own Shikai, so, yeah. The next fight happens to be Chad versus 50% of the 8th Division and Shunsui. As he fights Shunsui and 50% of the 8th Division, he beat the 50% pretty easily. When it came to him versus Shunsui can actually, he can't deflect Chad's attack. Because Chad is so skilled with his current power right now and isn't new to it, but also has had intensive training with it. Well, Chad's first bunch of extra shock got Shunsui so off guard the point where it gave Shunsui a scar from his chest all up to his eye, removing that same eye that he had in canon. It was just he had used the razor ability, and he did save one actually throwing at Shunsui. So it cut from his chest all the way up to his jawline and a bit into his cheek. But he thought, oh, this saves my eye. No, a razor hit him straight in the eye, destroying one of them. Shunsui decided to use Shikai, and then he beat Kenpachi. So yeah, not Kenpachi. Then he beat Chad. So yeah. Next up would be Uryu versus the whole 12th division. Now, honestly, Uryu kind of stares down Mayuri, Nemu, and the whole division before saying he'll end this fight in 5 minutes. And he does just that. By the end of the 5 minutes, he didn't even use resurrection. He honestly just demolished them completely. It was honestly just a complete assault on that division. And Mary has never been so happy to be beaten up a day in his life. So yeah. Then what else? Tatsuki and Orihime came to face down the remaining 50% of the division because Chad didn't finish them off. He got beaten by Shunsui. And now would fight Tatsuki, thinking that Orihime... Well, she fights Orihime first, but Tatsuki intervened. And eventually Tatsuki was going to be the stronger fighter. She eventually had actually beaten her now. But then Shunsui intervened and beat them both. So, yeah. He reported Yamamoto saying what happened. And Yamamoto shocked that some rookie got that much damage on Shunsui. But Shunsui says, clearly these guys are not some amateurs, just like Byakuya thought. Byakuya was fighting seasoned fighters that are likely trained by the Vizards, Ishin, Tessai. Kind of like everyone important to the society that had left. They were all trained by them, most likely. With this, Ishin says that the Land of Living probably has the best protection besides him and the Zero Division in the Soul Society. Kind of not acknowledging the Wandenreich. The Wandenreich. So yeah. But now 3 days would pass after just a bit of training and recovery for the whole group, as none of them got captured. Well, Chad, Orihime, and Tatsuki did, but Ichigo saved them immediately. And we'll go on to now the 6th Division versus Ichigo. That includes, right as Renji is ready to fight Byakuya, Ichigo had arrived, just ready to throw hands at them on an insane degree. Renji immediately said Bankai used on Ichigo instead, only for him to be just Ichigo teleports in front of him basically and hits him once in the face, and flying straight through Rukia's tower, straight through it. So yeah, she's being escorted down to be executed right now, but as soon as Renji got punched through it, that was the end of the fight right then and there. Then Byakuya immediately tried to use Bankai form, but Ichigo just uses Shikai and simply uses a dragon made out of fire that swallows up all of Byakuya's flowers, even like eating them completely, and the dragon isn't destroyed, but completely and utterly eviscerated Byakuya. And with this, Ichigo also uses Reishi to defeat every other member of the division. As Yamamoto shoots the intense flames and decides to fight Ichigo himself. When they do fight, Ichigo does actually beat him, but Ichigo also himself had been defeated as well. Yamamoto had used his Bankai, and Ichigo knew it would kill him, so Ichigo tried to go all out to end the fight as quickly as possible. But in that exchange, Yamamoto hit him so hard that it knocked him out. Well, then Ichigo hit Yamamoto so hard that he put him into a coma. So yeah. Then we go on to Chad versus Chojuro, Yamamoto's number 2, as Chad is Ichigo's number 2. Even though Chad is not the strongest, he is still Ichigo's number 2. So yeah. Chojuro tries to jump in and kill Ichigo while he's asleep, only get punched in the spine by Chad. Only for Chad's punch to go clean through his stomach and actually impale him. Chad eventually got nervous and pulling his fist out of Chojoro's gut. And he actually yelled at Orihime to please heal Chojuro. He didn't mean to do that much damage to him. And Orihime being pretty well experienced with powers already, and her son Rika not being something that she didn't need to train too hard. She just trained it how she trained everything else. It's able to heal a wound. So it worked out pretty well. But Chojuro quickly realized that these guys were not intending to kill them all at all. They were honestly just trying to actually have a okay fight and save their friend. But yeah, and Yoruichi, Tatsuki, and Uryu fought the whole 2nd division, and they pretty easily beat them all alone. So the 2nd division kind of got the worst beating out of them all because they had to fight people that could beat them all on their own with honestly no hesitation. And Uryu being 2nd strongest, and well, she's 3rd strongest because of, well, actually 4th because of Ishin and Urahara. Ichigo, Urahara, Ishin. Yeah, Uryu's 4th strongest in the group. But Uryu, probably in terms of power, is probably as strong as, like... I'm not trying to go anything extreme right now, but... I'm gonna be honest, he at this point, with all the training he did in those 3 days, plus the week and a half prepping that he had for Soul Society, he'd beat the shit out of every form of Ukiura at this point. He'd beat the shit out of it immediately. He's that strong right now. So yeah. Going to the Arrancar arc, where basically we would have to have like probably just like Yami versus like Chad and all them. And then we're going to that immediately. So it's Chad, Orihime, and Tatsuki versus Yami. And Chad is currently about as strong as Yami is, and not even using his hollow mask. But then with Orihime and Tatsuki by his side, they do go a bit overkill. Then as soon as Yami went to increase his power, Chad went all out from the start. And that's how strong Chad was. Chad all the training is probably about as strong as Nitro right now. Before Yami can go all out, Chad grabbed Yami and tore him in half immediately, killing Yami in the process. Like Chad punched through Yami with both hands and tore him in half. Yami's dead. Chad killed him. Ulquiorra then went for like attack on Chad. Then with help of Tatsuki like kind of like absorbing a bit of the energy that Chad had emitted from killing Yami. She shot all that energy back into Chad, giving back all the rage he had lost going to this form. As he does lose a bit because it's like a giant power up, but also he had fought a lot just to gain power, not gain power, but just to gauge Yami's power. Chad gets back to his whole full capacity, being able to catch Ulquiorra's sword and hit him in the face full force, and him falling far back. Ulquiorra eventually, when going all out in his base form, then began fighting Chad and beating the hell out of him, only for Orihime and Tatsuki to help him as well. But before Ulquiorra knew it, he's taken in the face by some guy wearing skeleton armor, but also a full hollow mask. As the black parts of Ichigo's body armor had then turned red. Ichigo put his hands together before tension a Keto spell, and the Keto spell was so big that it actually completely engulfed Ulquiorra's body. It didn't kill him, but his body is scorched completely, almost dead to only muscle. Ulquiorra was able to do such effort and carried a large explosion that was going to kill civilians. Ichigo and everyone was there didn't try to stop it. And when they did easily stop it, I mean, like from the start, like when it was launched, they stopped it, but it was enough time for Ulquiorra to escape at light speeds. When Ulquiorra returned with Yami's corpse, they're shocked that Ulquiorra is this badly beaten and Yami's dead. But something different on him. The marking of number 3 is on him, and Chad killed him. As soon as Ulquiorra got up looking at the marking, he just says, "Shit." It's like the only words, just shit. And he just passes out from immediately. Aizen reached down, tearing out his eye, and just showing the video to himself, but everyone else sees it. And they realize how strong Ichigo himself is, as he kicked Ulquiorra, like, he stopped Ulquiorra's blast from the start, but he made sure to contain it and not just recklessly throw it. If he had just thrown it away, easily he would have killed Ulquiorra from the start, but that's about it. Aizen just says that there may be only 3 people who can oppose his power right now, and that he'll lose to them opposing him. Then he sees the name Ishin, Uruhara, and Ichigo. The boy that just fought Ulquiorra, he is Ichigo Kurosaki. And with this, they realize that the only person that could probably beat Aizen is right there. Grimmjow went to go see Ichigo to actually test if he's actually as strong as Aizen said. And he brings his Rakshion to fight Ichigo during the nighttime. Well, actually, no, probably the daytime's the first fight they have. And as they fight in the daytime the first time, Ichigo beat the hell out of him. Ichigo's not even in his Fullbring. He's honestly in his base form in like sweatpants, a tank top, and a wooden sword, and he beats Grimmjow half to death using just that. So yeah. But eventually when Grimmjow had retreated, he came back like the next night, but just like his whole all his Rakshion and everything. But Ichigo had Chad, Tatsuki, Uryu, Ishin, Uruhara, Orihime. Actually, probably not Orihime because she's shooting kidnapped by now. So who to replace Orihime is Tessai. But Chad, Tatsuki, Uryu, Ishin, Uruhara, and Tessai fight all the Rakshion. And they're killed in the span of 2 minutes. Literally probably like 2 seconds in total, actually. But when Grimmjow fight Ichigo, who's down in skeleton armor, Ichigo kind of grabbed Grimmjow's hand and tore it off his body completely, then impaled him through the chest using his own hand. Ichigo offered to do Grimmjow if he's willing to rebel against Aizen. When Grimmjow is doing this out of saving his own skin, he hates Aizen and hopes to see him die. And he says he'll do it if Ichigo can make him Vessel Lord level in time before Aizen makes his move. Ichigo just nods, saying that's light work. With this, immediately, Grimjaw is fully healed by Ichigo, who would use Keto. Ichigo can use Keto. He's actually very, very, like, proficient with it. He was taught by Tessai. He's had, like, 3 years to become a Shinigami. And a Fullbringer master. You don't think that he learned Keto or Shunpo? You think you only learn Keto and Shunpo? Not, like, you think you only learn Hakuda and Shunpo? No, Keto's on the table. He learned that as well. He's a master at it. Not like a Tessai or a Ohara master, but he's a master of it regardless. So yeah. So in time for the window arc, Ichigo proceeded to train Grimjaw in like Orohara's basement thing. She's probably Orohara, probably like the Vizards. And he even taught Grimjaw even taught the Vizards a few things, teaching them to actually have their hollow masks appear almost at their face, making them a qualified quote unquote espada. With this, they're all able to now use a resurrection power. Then we go to Hikamundo. Ichigo says that he'll go himself with Chad and Uryu. Then eventually Rukia and Renji arrive for help, for support basically. Then Byakuya arrive just as like support and just to apologize. So yeah, hold up. Alright, so the fights of this arc. First fight happened to be Rukia versus Eronero, who are basically Rukia already achieved Bankai. Yeah, when she trained in the Land of Living for like the substitute sword per arc, the whole length of that, she achieved Shikai and was already halfway there to Bankai. All she needed to do was keep training with like someone like Byakuya or Yamamoto to keep up that progress. And when she told Yamamoto about it, he's like, okay, sure, yeah, we could use someone else who could use Bankai with Aizen's leaving. Plus, Shikai seems really strong. Your Bankai would be even more useful if it can also derive a similar power. So yeah. Rukia kind of just when she saw like Kai and Shiba, or when she saw Eronero turn into Kai and Shiba, Rukia isn't really fazed by it. She's kind of seen scarier things with Ichigo's power. Ichigo prefers to psych out his friends when it comes to fighting instead of actually hurting them physically, because physically leaves. You know, like mental scars stay longer. Ichigo's physical scars stay longer than that because they're traumatic physically and mentally. So yeah. So Rukia straight up just said Bankai, and immediately the whole building is froze, and she killed two spot in the progress. She killed Eronero and Domari. Then we have Renji and Uryu versus Seizel because Renji started losing the fight. But immediately we'll Uryu showed off his hollow mask, and then his Shoma gave him wings, and made a Reishi. But basically completely made him immune to some of the attacks. Not somewhat. No, made him completely immune to Seizel's attacks because Seizel was hollow, and Uryu kind of shrugging them off. Like they barely work on him. At the best, he feels like a small pinch, and that's about it. And he's shrugging it off. Seizel kind of lost the moment that Uryu arrived. So yeah. Sorry about that noise, we just heard that. But yeah, Seizel's pretty easily killed. And instead of basically like Byakuya fighting like Zomardi because Rukia already killed him, it's going on to Byakuya versus Neutra. Yeah, the moment the fight started, Byakuya straight up just kind of distorted his head completely, he's just trying to stab him in the face. And immediately he was like, no, Seizel. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't have an eye here. Byakuya says, okay, cool, send him Zakura, and his head's gone. Simple as that. That's the end of the fight right then and there. Oh, well, you don't have anything here. So how about this? I'll flood your head with tiny blades. Summon Zakura Kagayoshi, and there goes your whole head. It's in the fight right then and there. Then actually we have Grimjaw versus Ulquiorra. Grimjaw has his own second resurrection, and when he used it, he completely utterly eviscerated Ulquiorra. So yeah. Also, it's the fact that like. At the best, Ulquiorra had better technique than Grimjaw. That's about it. But better technique and IQ than Grimjaw, while Grimjaw had honestly superior everything else. If it wasn't IQ or technique, Grimjaw was beating him in it. And that's about it. So there's some speed, strength, agility. Ulquiorra stood no chance. Grimjaw's first punch blew off his whole left arm. So yeah. The next thing would be Shinji and Hiyori versus Stark. Stark is here with Orihime, but to leave with her, only for Lilith to be kicked right into him by Hiyori. Stark had caught Lilith not focusing on Orihime anymore, only for Shinji to appear and cut him across the face immediately, making a very large slash mark on his face. With this, Shinji had immediately just said, "Oh, Bankai." And, well, it doesn't affect Hiyori or Orihime, but affects Stark and Lynette. And with this, Shinji able to use her Shion, with Urahara's helping him out right at the point where it doesn't affect his body, but it just affects his Bankai, making it even more enhanced. When he used it immediately, Stark cannot find some way to adapt, or even he scrambled Stark's senses and everything, all that. But now he just scrambled his brain, completely making it so that he couldn't even think. He didn't realize how hopeless Stark was in this power, the resurrection Shion. Even though it's like, "Oh, Stark, use your resurrection." He's like, "I can't focus, I can't do it." Only for Hiyori to use her own Bankai now that she achieved and cut Stark clean in half. Now with this, if you're wondering how Hiyori can cut someone like Stark in half, there's one cost for Bankai. He kind of made a vow to it, kind of thinking about binding off from JJK. She would use every ounce of reishi in her sword, even when she used Bankai, to the point where it could even cut through pure reishi. Oh, here's a Getsuga Tensho. She holds out her sword, and immediately the Getsuga Tensho is cut clean in half by just her blade standing still. But then in exchange, when she would use one attack that can cut up a whole city block in one go, she kind of just falls unconscious immediately for 3 hours. So yeah. So when she uses the attack against Stark, she killed him immediately, and she passed out. And when the Lynette realized what happened, well, immediately Shinji appeared behind her, kind of picking her up by the neck and choked her out completely, and that was in the fight right then and there. So yeah. Now with this, we can probably go on now and take Arrancar town where Aizen's here. But then realize that they're missing Stark. Aizen's like, "Stark should have arrived by now." The portal from Okio kind of opened, as all the Espada that were in Huecamundo, their masks just fall to the ground, completely cracked and everything. With this, we have Renji, Rukia, Uryu, Byakuya, Grimjohn, and Shinji and Hiyori walking out of the portal, with Ichigo already in Arrancar town, just no one knows where he is. Even though Hime's a bit confused, saying, "Wait, didn't you say he came here with you?" And Shinji says, "Yeah, he let us in." Only for Ichigo to appear, saying that he copied the ability of the portals that Okura had used. He can use it himself now. As he should off the ability to use portals. So with this immediately, well, he actually says that he'll let them fight for a bit, and if he needs to intervene, he'll do it. With this, immediately, with not as many captains being needed, immediately Yamamoto said, "Tell us all our captains head back to the Soul Society, or actually head to the land of living, and just wait for if we lose to Aizen here, you're our last line of defense." And Machi says he hates that idea, but he'll do it, so he leaves. And Ichigo went to land of living himself, just honestly to enforce it. So yeah. Now going to Urahara and Yamamoto teaming up to fight against Aizen. Where honestly, they completely eviscerate him completely, because Aizen is not really that strong compared to Urahara at all. But Urahara can also enhance the power of Yamamoto using his own reishi, because now he's basically infinite reishi. And even when Aizen tries to use Kyoku Suigetsu to turn Yamamoto on Urahara, immediately Urahara just used his own Shikai, and the reishi that he's using broke the illusion of Kyoku Suigetsu immediately. Which actually kind of scared Aizen that only Shikai does this to his own. Only for Urahara to say, "Well, you're kind of troublesome, and I want to see you spill blood, not my allies anymore." Bankai. Use it, and immediately, well, the outline of Benihime would appear behind him, but she's wearing a more or less this white and red dress with a hollow mask on. Hollow mask with the eyes pouring blood and the mouth leaking blood as well. The blood being molded under her body, making a complete set of hollow armor, as now, well, we end up seeing Urahara with that same set of hollow armor. And with this, immediately, you appear right in front of Aizen, first grabbing Aizen's arm, and the arm is blown apart. Urahara now embodies every living aspect of his Bankai in his living body. If he touches you, he can blow your body apart. Or if he grabs your chopped off hand, you'll get a new hand. Aizen technically does whatever he... No, Aizen. Or Hawkeye does whatever he wants now to anything he touches. Mainly as soon as Aizen realizes that his arm's gone and it's not coming back at all. As soon as it's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I'll try to use quick as we get to because he can't flex much Reishi because it'll ruin his power. Noticing that Urahara is now completely, honestly, just sheer and raw, brute force with limitless Reishi now. Now, suddenly for Aizen, he's punched through the chest by Urahara, and Urahara pulls out the Hyogoku. We're saying that this is honestly a bit too dangerous to be used in the world anymore. As immediately Urahara kind of defuses it from Aizen, like he forces it, it tries to fuse with Aizen all over again. Urahara just flexes his Reishi on the Hyogoku and absorbs it into his Zanpakuto. Forcing his Zanpakuto forever using his own abilities, making it so that he only has to say his Bankai, and his Zanpakuto will appear again, but it will take up a lot of his Reishi. And he'll have a time limit, of course, but yeah. The Hyogoku is now basically Urahara's Zanpakuto. You know what? Aizen losing all his power right now, and even he has a hole through his chest, his arm's missing, and pouring blood everywhere. I'm also shocked that he didn't even get to do much. He punched Aizen like twice, and that was the end of the fight for him. So yeah. Now Berrigan in the meantime was fighting Shunsui, and Shunsui pretty easily killed him, not even using his own Bankai. Shunsui like, oh yeah, your whole thing is that you need to touch me. Sure, I'm not a fast phone, but I'm also trickier than her, so it doesn't matter. He dodged Berrigan's first attack and just threw his Zanpakuto, clean through Berrigan's chest, almost killing him before he went into his skeleton form. Berrigan was really able to dodge it though, only for him to realize that Shunsui appeared behind him, cutting off his arm. As didn't fight right then and there because Berrigan lost his arm. And then Shunsui's like, oh, you're not dead yet because I missed, but Bankai. 3 seconds later, the Bankai is dispersed with Berrigan dead. Berrigan could not last 5 seconds in Shunsui's Bankai, in this version because Shunsui trained a lot harder because of Yamamoto forcing him to train with Ukitake a lot more. Ukitake, with him being a lot stronger as well, he fought Haribo, no wanting to harm a woman, actually anyone really, but he would use his own power and a Bankai and pretty effortlessly defeat Haribo as well. Because these two are now forced to compete to become the next head captain because of Yamamoto's orders. So yeah. Gin is fighting Toshiro and Rangiku, and these fights are all going on around the same time as Aizen versus Urahara. And Gin kind of got tricked that Aizen lost an arm in the middle of this fight. And when he retracted, it will Toshiro and Rangiku use a combined attack to actually defeat Gin. So yeah, this Gin defeated, he's not dying at all, he's honestly just injured, and he's healed by Rangiku, but he's knocked out by Toshiro immediately. Tozen is also shocked that Aizen lost an arm, and with that, he's cut in half by Komura's Bankai. In the meantime, Shuhei would use his own Shikai to actually cut apart Tozen's body completely, killing him. So yeah. So Shuhei himself killed Tosen, and then Aizen eventually is killed with Gin waking up to see Aizen's corpse. Not corpse, but Aizen's not killed, he has a hole through his chest, but he's healed by Urahara. Urahara does say that, Aizen's body may die soon without treatment, so he immediately kind of gives Aizen enough power to relate to his Hyogoku, but this power will not give him the Hyogoku amps, so, yeah. Plus, Urahara sealed off his Zanpakuto, so, yeah. Now with this, we can really go on a bit more forward in time to the point where it's version of the Fullbringer arc. The way that Ichigo met Ginjo at his job, Ichigo just says, "You're a Fullbringer," and Ginjo froze, saying, "A full what?" Ichigo says, Get out before I cut your head off. I swear to God, you're in my place of work. I'm trying to have an honest living, and you're ruining it. Get out." Ginjo froze and just left. So yeah. Immediately as he's at execution, telling them what happened, well, Chad then says, I should have warned you that he knows what Fullbringers are. If I'm being honest, he's the god of Shinigami now. His power surpasses all Shinigami, even Quincy. He may not use Quincy power, but he displays the ability to now use Quincy, Hollow, Shinigami, and Fullbringer powers. If you want to fight him, you're gonna lose. Immediately, kind of like I would say, the clock guy turned to Chad saying, "Are you saying that Ginjo could not beat such a measly teenager?" Chad decides to use a bit of arrogance, saying, "He can't beat me." Ginjo offered to fight Chad, and Chad says, sure, why not? Immediately as soon as the fight started, Chad used both of his arms, and immediately grabs the air. Like, what are you doing? Only for him to pull off a hollow mask, and his whole body is turned into a hollow suit of armor. Ginjo froze, only being pinned to the chest by Chad, and Chad says he's on to eavesdrop to see what they're planning, because he knew other Fullbringers existed, but Ginjo was probably the only one that he actually wanted to kill. Chad pulling his fist out of Ginjo's chest, killing Ginjo on the spot, sending Ginjo back to the Soul Society, because that was Ginjo, I believe, is substitute Shinigami, which would probably make him have a Gigai and a real body. So I'm assuming that Ginjo in the Fullbringer state is probably only using a Gigai, or it's a Gigai that he has to live in for a while. So I'm assuming he's probably something like the Soul Society, just like the Kongai district. So Kishima isn't here. He's honestly kind of in the middle of like scaring where Hime and Tatsuki. But Ichigo can already sense the car curtain and knows what's going on. And that one kid with like the jackpot knuckle abilities is also there as well. And he decides to fight Tatsuki because she's getting in the way. Tatsuki immediately kind of turned around and tried to arrow clean through his head, killing him. She didn't want to do that, but he attacked her first. Kishima went to use the ability on Tatsuki, only for Ichigo's wooden sword to be in front of his face, and he's hit in the face with Ichigo's wooden sword. Immediately, Kishima got memories of seeing Ichigo. Ginjo and Ichigo saved him together. When he shakes it off, saying, "Wait, no, that's my ability. How are you doing this?" He's able to hold it off somewhat because it's his ability. But Ichigo had learned something special. He was in the Soul Society for around a year. He met the Soul King and everything. He met the Zero Division. He saw the Soul King once because he snuck past Ichibe. He saw the Soul King. Soul King was able to talk to Ichigo in some way. Telling Ichigo that Ichigo was the first one meant to save the Shinigami from his son, Yuobak, who's coming someday to kill him. He will die regardless if Ichigo wants it or not. If Ichigo can change fate, that'd be good. But usually he can't. But he does warn Ichigo of everything that's going on, and Ichigo would actually kind of obey that future, trying to actually save it. Ichigo just proceeds to kind of just scare Tsukushima by actually saying, I've met God. God chose me physically to literally save everything. If you think you can beat me, if you think you can beat God's chosen hero, you're wrong. Tsukushima already realized that Ichigo was talking about the Soul King, not like the literal religious God. No, he meant the Soul King, but Ichigo kind of refers to him as a god because he created their dimension. So, yeah. Tsukushima eventually is kind of killed by Ichigo, so not kind of is killed by Ichigo. But then we go to where Chad is, and Chad had to kind of beat up every member of Execution besides Ruka. And he just tells her, leave. And she does. Other than that, Chad ends up leaving the kitchen before blowing apart the whole building. And only one person survives. Being the kid with a PSP, and that was about it. So yeah. Next up will be the Tajin Blood War. But in all honesty, Ichigo going back and forth just to train with Yamamoto constantly, because Yamamoto's insanely strong. Ohara as well, just honestly visit Aizen and train with him for a bit. Each team to train with Toshiro and Gin. But I think Blood War begins when it comes to Byakuya, not Byakuya, I mean Toshiro and Toshiro versus like the Iron Guy, or I'm pretty sure his name is like what was it? Fuck, I forgot. Yeah, but him it's like Toshiro versus King Do. When Toshiro's losing the fight and his Bankai got absorbed and it's about to be used on him, he should have just used the ability that he used on Aizen and blew apart half of King Du's body from the start and killed him immediately. Giving people with his rights and just broke it, giving Toshiro back his Bankai immediately without Toshiro needing to have anything else done to it. So yeah. Then they eventually went on to help Byakuya because, Gin is now the captain of his division again. Probably not. I would say he's demoted to lieutenant, just the fact that he betrayed the society but did have good intentions that were proven. Just like him still kind of being a nuisance, he was given a demotion. So yeah, pretty sure it's Rose who leads his division now, and he's the vice captain of that division now. So yeah. But he's still probably on the stronger side of the captains. So yeah. With this, Gin, Toshiro, Rukia, and Rangiku are on the way to help Byakuya and Renji. Byakuya immediately kind of jumped in the air about the dodging attack from As notes about the use of fear ability. Only for his first like kind of fear like would be frozen completely by Toshiro. When Yuki and Gin use their abilities in tandem, using Ash and just extending ability, and as soon as it hit like Athnot, it blew off one of his arms, and briefly burned his face. With how fast it was going, it made the Ash ignite into just pure flames. So yeah. Then, as soon as the flames are like about to extinguish, Toshiro kind of froze them, giving severe frostbite in the face of Athnot, ruining half of it, even more than it already was ruined. Well, Rukia kind of appeared behind Master Immaculate, and immediately kind of just used her Bankai and froze them both froze Master Masculine and like his cheerleader guy, I guess. And immediately as soon as she released her Bankai, they both come up to the ground as they're both just dead now. So yeah. But the most important fighter right now is Kenpachi Zaraki. He's the most important fighter right now. Ichigo goes to Satori to fight Yamamoto almost every single week, just for a good fight. Because Yamamoto is insanely strong. Ichigo is also insanely strong. But another important fighter that also enjoys training with Ichigo is Kenpachi. And Yamamoto's like, well, me and him are probably the only ones. Ichigo and Unohana are probably the only ones that can stand Kenpachi's rampages. Well, like Unohana and Kenpachi train with us. And they do just that. Unohana is not allowed to die because Ichigo keeps healing her. Also, Kenpachi has to learn to be a lot faster and actually have skill. Not just honestly using one hand, or two-handed slashes that end fights too easily. Kenpachi is forced to learn skills like Kido, Shunpo, all that. He's forced to learn it because Ichigo's like, yeah, you're honestly too slow to I can just go in tandem or use barriers that you can't cut through. With this, Kenpachi is forced to learn to become an evolved Shinigami. However, Kenpachi, just honestly through training without killing anyone, unlocked a Shikai. Kenpachi doesn't like the way he trains, but still, it's fun. Well, it's not as fun, it's chaotic, and he loves that. So yeah, so when it came to like Kenpachi versus like that 1,200 years ago Yubak, well, as soon as he arrived on the field using his Shikai, well, Unohana arrived next to him, as Unohana has revealed her true nature, and well, she's passing on from her abilities to like Isane, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go train with Yamamoto and Ichigo. They invited me to do so." But she leaves behind these spells for Isane to learn, so Isane can take over her place as the 4th Division captain. So Yamamoto trusting Isane to actually have learned at least a decent amount of those skills, which she actually has to learn all of them. If Unohana's like, oh yeah, learn this, Isane learns it. There's not one thing that Unohana has told her to learn that she has not learned. The only thing that Unohana has not assigned her is Bankai. The only thing that she's not assigned Isane. So yeah, so Isane is the only one that's only like she's like only member of 4th Division fighting is Unohana right now. So this Unohana and Kenpachi team up immediately, like Kenpachi going all out from the start, using his Kido and Shunpo and Hakuda. While then we would have Unohana using her Bankai from the start. And with this, they're both able in tandem to actually really injure the Yubak that they're fighting right now. But he still beats them both, with him missing an arm, with a pretty bad cut across the stomach. But Yamamoto arrived from the start, realizing that this was not that Yubak. Because honestly, his actions were a bit too different to feeling pain. But this Yamamoto appeared, just using Shikai and burned him to ash from the start, as the real Yubak suddenly arrived. But now we're going to go on to just Huecamundo now, where we have Grimjow versus the jailer guy. As Grimjow versus him, Grimjow pretty easily killed him. Because one, Grimjow did not kill Ulquiorra. He beat him to a pulp. Ulquiorra almost died in the fight, but well, he's missing an arm and a leg. But yeah, eventually he did grow them back though. Well, he didn't grow back his arm because, well, it was turned to dust. It was turned to dust and cauterized at the same time. So his arm is not growing back anytime soon. So it's kind of Grimjow, Haribel, and Neliel versus the jailer guy. Pretty sure it's like Kyoge. So Grimjow, Ulquiorra, and Haribel and Neliel team up just to beat him. And with how strong Grimjow's gotten in the last year or two, he could have killed him on his own. It would have been like feeling like, oh, it's a high diff, mid diff. No, it would have been for Grimjow extreme diff. Like, he would have been really into the point where he may die due to his injuries, but he would have won the fight. This is how hard the fight would have been for him. But with these other three with him, he died pretty easily. So yeah. But with all the other Quincy's there, as soon as Ichigo and everyone else arrived, well, Chad, Orihime, and Santosky pretty easily got rid of every other Quincy there, or every other hollow allied with them were pretty easily dealt with. So, yeah. And with Ichigo's ability to create portals, he immediately created a portal all the way to Soul Society as they arrive in it. And we end up seeing Yubak versus Yamamoto. Izami had arrived, honestly, to heal Unohana only, and she left immediately. And as soon as Yubak's about to catch her, Unohana ended up delivering a pretty bad cut to his hand, removing a few fingers. Which actually shocked him that there's a Bankai is able to deal much damage to him. But as soon as he's trying to kill Unohana again, well, something Kenpachi rose up and cut at him, doing a small cut across his chest. So yeah. But before anyone knew it, well, 5 dragons had arrived, being made of earth, water, fire, air, and lightning. The dragons have been twirling at insane speeds, before combining into one dragon, with a man wearing some skeletal armor riding on it. Then we see Aizen. We see basically the Vizards, Aizen, Urahara, Ishin. Basically, all of Ichigo's friends or allies that he's trained arrive on that dragon. Immediately, Ichigo put his hands together before saying, like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And then, basically Dragon made a Kido had flown, or made a Reishi fly right next to the dragon before fusing with it, making the dragon even bigger. And Yubak tries to basically destroy the dragon with just one go, thinking it's like a Shinigami ability, they're trying to absorb it. But no, it is honestly just raw Reishi doing this. He can't absorb it, or seal it away. It's not a Bankai ability. Ichigo rarely uses his Zanpaku Toe unless he wants to use a really strong Getsuga Tensho. So yeah. So as soon as Yubak realized that he got hit by it, and the blast was so big that even Ichigo had make sure to seal a lot of the damage in the area with Aizen and Urahara's help. Yubak jumps out of the seal immediately. It's just let go, but they see that everything in the circles basically completely turned to ash. Like there was a hole completely down, like almost down to hell at this point, metaphorically almost down to hell, but it's still a giant hole. Yubak is basically almost every item of clothes besides like his pant legs cut in half, but yeah. I'm not sure what I said, but Yubak eventually had kind of lost almost every article of clothing from that explosion because, yeah, almost every article of clothing is like his pants were turned into very bad shorts. Also, the audio is a bit different. My headphones had died, so I'm kind of using my phone picking up audio, as I'm not wearing any headphones to record now. So yeah, so my headphones died, so I'm charging them right now. But yeah. Yubak kind of shocked that Ichigo did that much damage to him. But suddenly, Ichigo and all the friends would just use one, like Ichigo just went into his Bankai form, which is combining all of his Fullbringer abilities into just this one wooden sword. They started cracking them. And the pressure, though, is all their friends would just combine their power in that one attack. And Ichigo calls it the Allied Getsuga Tensho. Used on Yubak, because Yubak tries to use his, like, oh, I'll use the Almighty to destroy it. No, it doesn't do jack shit. Even if it is to stop it, right, it's being put into the wooden sword. The wooden sword can turn into a full-fledged blade. There's no stopping this attack. He realized that. And every single reality he sees, he's getting hit by it. Only way he saw himself getting out of it alive is running away. But because of where he is in time, he's hit by it full force. Which actually burns his body pretty badly, actually to the point where it burns one of his eyes shut. So kind of puts his Almighty in half now. But immediately we end up seeing Uryu arrive, shockingly, as Uryu had betrayed them, and just left. If I said Uryu when went to Wickham, I know that was my bad. He didn't. I probably put to add on like Tessai or one of the other Vizards, but yeah. But Uryu had arrived, saving Yubak, then getting the Wanden Reich. But with how bad his how bad Yubak's injuries are, they can't be fully healed. At the best, they can numb the pain. But they had lost over half of their Sternritter in the Soul Society. Over half of them are dead now. Like Urahara alone can solo a majority of these Sternritter. Like get Urahara and Ishin on a team, and there will be no remnants of the Sternritter at all. There's really no need also for the Zero Division training, but it still happens because Ichigo has said it'd be good for that to happen. Ichigo had another plan. He went to the Soul King and been using every single Kido spell he had to reinforce the Soul King's thing. And when we've been using even Fullbringer abilities to seal it off, but we actually had an idea. And she told Ichigo what this ability can do, and Ichigo supported it full fledged. With this, they go down to the deepest level of the prisons. Ichigo created a whole new room that blended into the background perfectly. Then you see the Soul King in there. Using all the strongest Kido users using their spells, they feel it off the point where we're not in Soul King's Reishi can leave the room, but can still keep every single dimension in place. So when the Wandenreich is every time we're to the Wandenreich, or Wandenreich, whatever it's called, they can't find the Soul King. They can't find him. They don't know where he is. They think that they hit him in a whole another dimension. That is how well hidden he is. So yeah, hold up. All right, so yeah, I had to write down all the fights for the Wandenreich arc. Because how it goes is Chad is actually able to get into the castle, and does fight into Hugram and then actually Uryu as well. But Chad, as soon as Uryu tried to convince him to leave, Uryu can see Chad immediately prep both his arms under his sleeves, as Chad is wearing sleeves now. His same outfit isn't canon, just sleeves. Uryu can see him prep his Diablo. He saw the black arm and everything, but as soon as he didn't see the other arm because it blended in, then Uryu's punched in the gut, full force went flying into a wall, and Chad says he'll kill him here if Uryu doesn't tell him the true motives. And Uryu, knowing how hard Chad just hit him and probably wounded him pretty badly internally, Chad may actually kill him because Chad in this one is a bit more loyal towards Ichigo because of the fact that all his power came from Ichigo. Ichigo said it has told Chad he's gonna give him power to defend himself, and Ichigo did just that. Chad is like Ichigo's Zoro, just instead of swords he has his fists. So yeah, it's kind of like Chad's role for Ichigo. So he's willing to kill Uryu for Ichigo. Uryu eventually realizes he's a traitor to Chad. So he's gonna betray the Quincy. Hugram had arrived and tried to give Uryu bad luck, only to be hit in the hand by actually one of Chad's discs. And yeah. So yeah. But yeah, we go on again probably now to just Chad and Uryu versus Hugram, or Jugram, whatever you want to say. But this fight, honestly, with Hugram using his the Almighty now because Yubok's asleep, still Chad is a very unpredictable fighter because his abilities can be so versatile. Because whenever Ichigo grows his abilities, when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, whenever Ichigo grows that, he directly tries to enhance his the gauntlets because it'll enhance Chad's gauntlets. So Ichigo's insanely strong with those gauntlets. Chad is as well. So using these, Chad is somewhat comparable to some form of Ichigo, which is any form of Ichigo currently can beat Hugram. And with Uryu being a master tactician in terms of combat, Chad and Uryu combined kill Hugram in a matter of time pretty easily. Yubok doesn't wake up, but Hugram's dead. So yeah. Plus, Uryu kind of swapped wounds from the start, so Hugram has very badly damaged internal organs because he's not as durable as Uryu is. Uryu is partially hollow. He's immune to sorts of damage. Chad is the whole exception because Chad has hollow powers as well, but also just sheer Fullbringer powers, and his power is just sheer raw strength. No, not Reishi, no. His power is literally just these hands. So, yeah. But actually, Yubok does wake up and beat them both up, which leads to the fight being Aizen, Yamamoto, Urahara, Tsukushima, and Ichigo versus Yubok. You guys are wondering why Tsukushima? Tsukushima's powers are Ichigo, since Ichigo trains powers constantly. He trains all of them. Tsukushima is his best chance right now. Yeah, sure, Ichigo himself can negate Yubok, sure. Having double the power to negate Yubok is the best. That will do just that. You come to a point where Tsukushima on the sides and negating all of Yubok's abilities from the shadows. But also because Yubok he's not forcing himself to actually remember Tsukushima once. And remember Tsukushima is a ghost, can't find him. So Yubok in the middle of the fight is paranoid trying to find Tsukushima using the Almighty. Ichigo alone put PTSD in Yubok, then Tsukushima is just adding on to that PTSD. So yeah, this is a very scary fight. Then eventually leads on to Pernida versus Ukitake and Mayuri. In this fight, Ukitake is like unlocking Mihagi's abilities because Ichigo using all his powers can actually heal people. He kind of ended up doing an ability where he can actually share Fullbringer powers. Well, he already has that, but he shared Fullbringer powers, but only a certain power with Ukitake, being regeneration. And Ichigo's powers can revive him from any injury or disease. The only way he can die is if his brain or heart is destroyed for more than 20 or 40 seconds. It has to be a certain organ has to be destroyed for that amount of time. It does Ukitake this. Your sickness will be gone. You'll keep Mihagi's powers, plus how strong you may be from his power. You can possibly be in sync with him. So Ichigo has like a fully healthy Ukitake who's now surpassed Shunsui. They're nearly equals as Ukitake is sick. Imagine a fully healthy Ukitake. He is beating the living shit out of Pernida with Mayuri by his side. So it's a pretty good fight. The next fight. Because Urahara's on this fight, it's a lot harder one, but everyone here is insanely a lot stronger than in canon. So it's Askin versus Yoruichi, Grimmjow, Neliel, Ukiura, and Haribel, or Hollybell. Yeah, the thing is, Hollybell's gotten a lot stronger because Grimmjow is probably the strongest person here out of like everyone here, including Yoruichi. Grimmjow is probably about as strong as I would even go to say Bankai Urahara now, but he doesn't have Urahara's abilities, but he has Ukiura's regeneration times 10. So when we're having also advanced regeneration, Askin can't keep them down. Like these two will not fall in battle because they'll heal immediately. So with this, though everyone else is more like a distraction or temporary battle, but then when they get killed by Askin, well, or not killed, when they kill Askin, he comes back to life, sure. But, well, Grimmjow and Ukiura aren't losing energy hitting him. So, kind of never-ending battle to the point where Askin eventually is just honestly killed because he ran out of energy. But then he eventually has just been completely utterly eviscerated by these two. And they use such intense blasts to the point where they turn him into ash, and the ash is just spread across the Soul Society, or the Wandenreich. So they honestly win because they have enhanced regeneration now. That's about it. Then Bambagetta versus Komura, Ikkaku, and Iba. You guys wondering why Ikkaku? Ikkaku never had a chance to spread his wings in, like, not spread his wings, but show off his power in the Fullbringer arc. This is his chance. So when it came to him, like Bambagetta tries to use bombs on Iba and everything. Now Iba and Ikkaku have been getting along better because Ichigo encourages Kenpachi to get along with Ikkaku now because Ikkaku strives to be like him. So yeah, with this, Kenpachi does encourage Ikkaku to be stronger and everything, and Komura is very much the same way with Iba. So these two have a very good connection, and Iba is bringing out Ikkaku's less arrogant side. Actually, Ikkaku uses Bankai pretty frequently in battle, not being afraid to show it. He's afraid to show off his full power, but Bankai is not his limit. He has like a full power Bankai, but his basic Bankai, he's not afraid to show that. But not because the sake of the reality is online, he will use it. So when he uses it, well, first his attack on Bambagetta is honestly punching Bambagetta through a building. And then Iba is actually shocked that Ikkaku arrived in battle to help them. And Ikkaku says it wouldn't be wise to leave his friend against such a strong opponent, as his captain is charging his power. And yeah, so with this, Komura, Ikkaku, and Iba fight against Bambagetta together. But Iba would eventually awaken his Bankai. And if Bleach continues, we may see different Bankai than what I want to say. But because of Iba constantly having, like, I would say, just Sake with him, I assume his power... Like, I assume his Bankai must be something related to the Sake thing. Or at least related to, I would say, spirit and battle. Because his battle spirit seems high, but also perfect for being a captain. Power-wise, may not. But just fucking... His spirit and battle is amazing to me. So what happens, basically, his Bankai will allow him to get somewhat drunk, but it'll make him a lot more skilled, but very tricky. But also, if he hits you, if he's able to make a deep enough wound, you'll slowly get drunk with each hit. And it makes you sloppy. Like, every ounce of skill, every time he hits you and draws enough blood, you'll get drunk, and your skill will go to him. Like, no, your power, no. Every skill, like, you've learned, let's say, karate. Ikkaku hits you enough, he'll have every ounce of karate skill you have, and you won't know any of it as you're drunk. With this, as Ikaku, Iba, and Komura fight Bambietta, weakening her significantly, they're eventually able to actually have Bambietta not be able to use her explosions perfectly or good whatsoever, to the point where she misses every single blast, hitting a few of the miscellaneous the Stern Ritter. And the point where Komura even killed her in one go. So yeah. But now two main powerhouses arrive, being Hachi and Tessai. They're able to seal away a large amount of Komura's power, with Aizen walking away as Yubok's awake still and fighting. But he's too paranoid to focus on every single person here. He's focused on Ichigo and Tsukushima, so Aizen kind of walk away and help them seal away some of the power. And eventually we went back to battle just to actually make sure that they have such a strong ally left. Where they kind of restore Komura's heart to some degree. Well, Komura is constantly stuck in his human form now because all the sealing that was done on him just now, but on the condition that he cannot use Bankai unless they let him. So yeah, he kind of has like a banned Bankai now. The ban is lifted though, he'll go back and turn into a dog after the end of the battle, unless he's healed all over again. But yeah, next fight being Asnote versus Gin. Asnote has beef with Gin. He never got Byakuya's Zanpakuto toe power, so he's not angry at Byakuya. He's angry at Gin for ravaging his body. And Rangiku currently is Gin's wife, so beef. So with this, Gin and Rangiku combined pretty easily to just annihilate Asnote. So yeah, in the middle of the fight, with these two being able to combine their attacks perfectly to the point where they can cause explosions or like flames, it's insanely powerful. So they're able to use some power to the point where they kind of evaporate all of Asnote's fear liquid, and they turn him to ash completely. So he's dead. So yeah, that fight was a pretty short fight actually. Then we have Bazby versus Rukia. He fights Rukia using his powers like Generation of Flames. All Rukia did is just use Chikai and freeze his flames and freeze his body. He's not dead, but he's just frozen completely and he can't melt ice. It's just that solid. Like, she froze his Reishi, which froze his body, which froze his power. Or she froze his body, which froze his Reishi, which is his frozen power, which froze his power by default. He's not getting out. He's not dead, he's kind of in, like, cryostasis. So, yeah. But we're kind of sat down after that fight, making sure he couldn't get back up, because he seems to be one of the stronger Stern Ritter. You have the Pepe guy versus, like, versus the, what was it? The, Visored, Love. He also face Hiyori and Kensei. He's fighting the Vizards because I think these Vizards would be the most annoyed with his power. Love for irony, Hiyori because he's a pervert and annoying, and then Kensei because his power is honestly too touchy-feely, and Kensei is like a quote-unquote badass. As soon as Pepe tries to use his ability on like Kensei, they just dodge and deck him in the jaw full force, breaking it. Hiyori then uses her Bankai, cutting his body up in pieces, and Love straight up uses his mallet to split his body all across the one and right to make sure that if he can regenerate, he can't come back anytime soon. Hiyori killed him, but still, it was just like an extra thing. So yeah. But that's a pretty strong blow. And Genpachi also achieved his full power by now without even killing Unohana because he already beat her multiple times. Bisho tells him, not all fights need to end in murder. You'll find more satisfaction in ruining their self-esteem. And Genpachi completely ruined Unohana's. multiple times over. He ruined it multiple times over. She was glad to have it happen, but still, he ruined it. So yeah. Oh fuck yeah, that's cool. I have two pairs of headphones, and one of them ended up having like the muffs come off, and I just found both muffs. So yeah, that's pretty cool for me. But these headphones I'm using right now are better for recording. But yeah, so now we have Gerard versus Unohana, Kenpachi, Byakuya, and Shuhei. You guys wondering about Shuhei? Again, like basically Shuhei versus Gerard. Shuhei's power doesn't really do much damage to Gerard, but the way he uses it is very convenient for himself. Again, the fight, he even kind of grabbed Gerard's helmet. They kind of like stabbed into Gerard's helmet, not through his head, but spun the helmet to the point where like Gerard's neck almost broke. But instead, it kind of gave him a really bad neck cramp. And with this, Gerard can use a weapon properly. Unohana and Shuhei kind of yelled, grab his sword. But she jumped up before she kind of tried sticking his hand in the sword, lifting it in the air, and throwing it straight at Uobach. He saw the sword coming, almost just to engulf the sword in flames, and actually stabbed Yubak in the side. Well, not stabbed him, kind of cut him pretty badly. Yubak is still paranoid, so he's very, like, his almighty is not helping him whatsoever. It is being rewritten constantly. Like, Tsukushima and Ichigo are doing numbers on this man's mental state horribly. It is terrifying. Like, he's getting PTSD episode after PTSD episode. Oh, almighty. Nope, PTSD episode instead. You can have that. And that's what happens constantly. Yubak is in a losing battle against monsters. So yeah. Kenpachi, when he threw the sword away, Gerard's like, oh, I have my shield still. When Hana says, no, you don't, and melts the shield. Like, she didn't do any damage. No, she honestly just used her own, just used his blood on it and melted the shield down. The shield can go back, sure. Wait, no, it can't. The shield is now his blood. So his arm came back, but his shield didn't. He has no weapons. Like, his sword is still around. It's honestly just really hot. That's all that happened to it. A bit melted in a hint, but he can't go near Yubak's battle because he's fighting someone as strong as him, possibly. So Gerard can't really enter his fight right now. Gerard's fighting weaponless, and everyone here is almost hand-to-hand combat than he is. Well, not such a good where she turned his blood into basically just acid. Kenpachi just used such a strong slash in his Bankai form because this guy Yachiru's gone. Yeah, this group combined is screwing Gerard over at every turn and scaring him. Like, oh yeah, I'm the miracle, Gerard Valkyrie. No, he is the paranoid. So yeah. Driscoll, he is not dead like in the Soul Society. The fact that so many Sturminator died so fast. Also with the emotional constantly training, you think you like if you know Chojo's character to some degree, even Yamamoto's training so hard, Chojo is training alongside him or training on his own as well. Chojo trains a lot. Driscoll is not enough to kill him. Driscoll can't. Like, sure. Chojo got his Bankai stolen. Okay. Hollow-fied Bankai. He got that. So when him and Driscoll fight, Chojo uses Bankai immediately. But then beside him is Tatsuki. Tatsuki honestly is able to negate all of Driscoll's power to the point where Driscoll ends up losing everything. Like, he can't land an attack on him. His power is based off killing, and he can't kill. Tatsuki is like the exact opposite of what Driscoll is. So yeah, so with Chojo's help, with Tatsuki's help, Chojo pretty effortlessly kills Driscoll. He can get it done on his own, but Driscoll is now powerless. He can't kill anyone because Tatsuki is negating all the attacks. But when she uses her own attacks, it's a lot stronger. Because she absorbs Reishi, it amps her for a second or two, and then she uses an attack, and the Reishi's gone. So yeah. Then Gremmy, his fight, because Kenpachi did not fight him. Who fought Gremmy is Shinji and Hachi. Yeah, Shinji immediately kind of uses Bankai. Like, Hachi's able to create a barrier to the point where all the mist is only in the area, and he forced Gremmy onto his side. And this is where Gerard's death comes in. When he forced Gremmy onto his side, the mist is already gone now, but Gremmy is still affected by it. But Shinji used additional power to make Gremmy specifically only his ally. So with this, Gremmy immediately went towards Gerard's like, oh, Gremmy, your opponents are still alive over there, what are you doing? Shinji even gave Gremmy a bit of help, saying, oh, here's how you kill Gerard. Even if he's impossible to kill, here's how you do it. Gremmy followed Shinji's instructions to the T, the point where Gremmy is still okay, perfectly fine. And wished Gerard's death. He's like, oh, I want to imagine that my body have enough power, like this and this and this. Being very specific, so his body can actually be able to handle this, and says, Gerard's dead. And Gerard just died. That was in the fight for Gerard right then and there. And me with this, Shinji says, no, Gremmy, you're just a brain again. And Gremmy was just a brain again. That's how the fight with Gremmy ended. Hachi just made sure that the ability for Shinji just worked, and that's about it. He was just there to ensure it. So yeah. Now, Neanderthal is facing the same person as in canon, but then eventually Oetsa kind of intervened and killed him pretty easily because the fight was kind of getting boring, and he's seeing so much fun happening down there. And Yubak never got to the palace because Tolkien wasn't there. He didn't see him there. So yeah. Eventually the Zero Division does like watch the fight, or like they eventually join in the fight with Yubak, and they're all doing insanely well. So yeah. We have the Libero versus Shunsui and Ginjo. Ichigo gave Ginjo the same powers he has when he absorbed Ichigo's power and cannon, but Ichigo didn't lose any effort giving Ginjo this power before the fight with Yubak. So when it came to Ginjo and Shunsui versus Libero, and Ginjo having time to train this power, well, Libero can't really. How do I phrase this? Ginjo's power is like a domain expansion. It's a sure hit because of what Ichigo did to it. But Ichigo gave him hollow power, so it's dealing damage to Libero whether he likes it or not, because he's a Quincy. Ginjo and Shunsui combined are dealing damage to Libero that Libero never imagined. Shunsui even uses Bankai. He's using Shikai at times. But then eventually Ginjo stops fighting, telling Shunsui to use Bankai, go all out. Shunsui would do so, and from the start, when the Bankai was activated, Libero was killed. Libero didn't do damage to either of the two because of Ginjo's power automatically poisoning him. He was so weak to the point where his powers were ineffective. At the best, he bruised him a little bit, and that was about it. Libero was made trash in this arc by Ginjo. Ginjo bitched him out. So yeah. Now Gazelle versus Renji, Isane, Himachika, and Nemu. Masculine is dead already. Rukia killed him in the Soul Society attack. So, yeah. But Renji's using his power to actually throw her around in all of her zombies, and she can't get her blood on him or anything, or even turn him into a zombie because his power is honestly too fast and too scary to face. Then Himachika psyched her out by mentioning that she is actually a he, but then eventually, yeah. But Isane is also able to actually cure some of the zombies with Nemu's help. So she's turning the zombies against her. Like, she's either curing them or turning them against her. The fights aren't working in the favor whatsoever. But then eventually we go on to just Renji being able to use her power to the point where he grabbed onto her. And told Nemu and Isane be ready to help him. They do so to Himachika, even like Isane was already using these reishi flowers, able to amp Renji. And when they all use the power, they eventually kind of just popped off Giselle's head, and that was the end of the fight right then and there. He just turned into a zombie, but Himachika was able to actually use the flowers with Shikai to actually slow down Renji and actually turn him somewhat humanoid. And then throw him in the machine, and 2 minutes later he came out fully human. So not fully human, but back to his normal self. So yeah. But then next up, we go and play just back to the Ubok fight, where Aizen's actually able to use an amped Kyoku Suigetsu because of Urahara. And Urahara would go into the hollow armor state again, but now it's purple and black because of the Hyogoku instead of it being red. So yeah. So Urahara is now in like a full-on Hyogoku. He's a living Hyogoku now. So his power is basically like the Hyogoku at every command, and his command is being strong enough to kill Yubok. Ichigo and Tsukushima are already that strong now. So he's being put on the same playing field as Tsukushima and Ichigo now. But then Urahara is able to use power to amp Yamamoto and Aizen bring him to that tier of power. They're all as strong as Yubok now. Yubok is not winning this fight. He's facing 3, 4, 5 different people on his level of power. 2 of them ruining his power constantly, so he's probably not as... They're facing Yubok who doesn't have the Almighty. But he also gets their power because they're ruining it. He can't use any of his powers that are related to ruining Bankai. So yeah. The only powers he can use are like basic Quincy powers, and that's about it. He has like the basic set of it, and Ichigo can use that same basic set. At the best, they're a bit enhanced because he's Yubok. Ichigo is still using that same set of Quincy powers and negating Yubok's. Yamamoto knows how to get around them, so yeah. But eventually, Uryu would intervene in the fight, and Yamamoto's like, "Oh, he's my predecessor. Save me." Uryu tells them all they have a 1 second interval to him to make this work. Hit him with the strongest attacks all at once. So in 1 second interval, well, he needs Unohana to heal him, as Unohana's watching this fight as well. They're watching. They can't intervene in the fight because they'll all die. Unohana, Isane, every single healer on the battlefield are ready to heal Uryu as he's hit. But they all attack Uryu all at once, hitting with a blow that kind of visits the area, but Uryu's healed immediately, as he swap powers, but swap injuries with Yubok. Yubok immediately bursts into has his body destroyed, and as he starts to heal himself, well, we would see the Zero Division arrive, and they would also do the same thing to Uryu, immediately just destroying Yubok. This Yubok is completely just kind of like reduced like a black and red puddle on the ground, half being ink, half being blood. And with this completely just utterly eviscerated Yubok, and Yubok is no longer a threat because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people are on an even playing field with him without even trying anymore. The only one trying were Aizen and Yamamoto because they were left behind in the dust by the other 3. So yeah. Well, this is the end of this What If here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hell arc, if there is one. Honestly, it's a complete wash. Ichigo, without even trying, was already beating Yubok. And now he has a partner they wanted to society with, or hangs out with now, is his new roommate Tsukushima, because him and Tsukushima get along pretty well now. Yeah, like Ichigo, Karin, Yuzu, Orihime, Kazui, and Tsukushima all live together. And Ishin as well, so, yeah. 7 people live together. Tsukushima is just on because he makes a good sparring partner, and that's about it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe for more. Adios.